Hi, Laura. I've got something I'm embarrassed to even ask, but I've started a new job and they want me to travel more. And the problem is, I hate airplanes. I don't like flying and I try to avoid it at all costs. How do I avoid this? Do I talk to my boss or do I suck it up and deal with it? And if so, how do you recommend I get on an airplane?
Respect.
What do you think, Pete?
Well, there's a couple ways to cut up this turkey, I'll tell you that. One is exposure therapy. We're going to get through this. It's time to overcome this. That really depends on how extreme your phobia is. Because there are things. I have to fly constantly, so there are things I tell myself. There are things that pilots have told me. Turbulence doesn't bring down a plane is something I tell myself all the time. It might be frightening, it might be unpleasant, but it doesn't bring down a plane. The physics of airplane travel turns the air into gel, basically. It's like flying through jello. It's like driving on a bumpy road. That's what turbulence is. And it's getting into the physics, getting into kind of understanding it, the likelihood, the probability, all that stuff. Sure. There's also a part of me that wants to be like, you hate traveling. Why are you going to do it for your job? That sounds like a horrible idea,
Yeah.
So it really depends on how hurt you are for this job, how much you like this job.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more information that I would want too. I'm like, how much more money are we talking? But even then,
it's pretty rough to be like, I'm going to white knuckle it.
Right, if you hate it. And I'll just share my personal experience, and whatever about that is helpful to this listener is helpful, and whatever is not is not. My anxiety around travel, it has nothing to do with the potential for the plane to crash. I don't think it's going to, not worried about it at all. I do know I'm going to be in an enclosed space with a load of other people, and I have never been okay with that. It's gotten better, but
yours is like all the different ways a person.
Claustrophobic.
Oh, okay.
And
Claustrophobic.
So my best solutions for that are just throwing as much money as I can. Yes, to the Delta Lounge. Yes, to the extra legroom, the Comfort Plus or the whatever the extra 4 inches of legroom is. Yes to Clear. Yes to pre-check. Just yes to anything that keeps me out of small spaces as much as possible, and just that makes it a more comfortable experience. Now, if I did not have to travel at all for work, I would probably travel a little bit for work. But traveling all the time really affects your quality of life if you don't like it. I max out at about 2 weekends a month.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be consecutive because, a comedy weekend is long. That can be like a Wednesday to Monday.
I agree. And we're in the minority there.
Yeah.
Most people, their train comes in, they're like, send me out, baby.
Right.
I'm like, leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
Yeah. If you haven't done it, you don't know, you know, because when I was opening for you, I looked forward to it every time. I was so excited. And now that I'm doing it by myself, it takes a toll. Physically, something happens when you put your body that high up in the air and then bring it back down. You know, it's exhausting.
I know this is a stereotype, but they used to say there's a reason why pilots drink is because they're just dealing with a lot of stress. I don't know if that's still a thing, but in the 80s, 90s.
Being a pilot.
Yeah. Or a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Had to look for it. I was going to say stewardess. Flight attendant. Yeah, it's interesting. You might be afraid of the dangers of travel, but it would be a more realistic fear to be like, oh, I'm going to be away. I'm going to be in different time zones. And you need to this. Let's say your fear of flying is mild. My advice to people who have to travel for their work, me being one of them, is you need to learn how to romanticize it and make it fun. You have to tell a different story about it. So when I'm flying, when I'm traveling, there's certain movies I watch. They're all about people, not just up in the air. Up in the air is an okay one. But I like movies that romanticize the solo person going around. Blade Runner 2049 or whatever it is, that's actually one of them. Cedar Rapids, these movies that are about hotels and the fun. So this is going to sound silly, but like when I started really touring, and this is when I was doing colleges, when I was just divorced that time, I hated it. I really didn't like it. I was like, well, this sucks. And then I started telling myself these little different stories, and you really see how your life is a story, and you have a little bit of agency over how you frame it. And it turns out it's true. How you frame it is kind of all of it. So instead of thinking, and this is when I was staying in hotels, I would go, it's not a shitty hotel, it's free towels. It's unlimited clean towels. And that was the first little shift I made. And you start getting good at like, you know, I'd fill the sink with ice and I'd put little drinks in it, little comforts. Every place has a shower. It doesn't matter if it's like a Super 8. It's got a hot shower. It's got a bed you don't have to make. You know what I mean? It's got a TV. You find ways, like you can look up something that you can walk to. It's all about like, and even as I say this, I can tell that what I'm saying would have made 28-year-old Pete sad. I'd be like, listen to this loser has figured out like how to make the loneliest, saddest thing palatable. But now when I do it, I like it. I like the solo time. I like the simplicity of like, I just have to get to this one place, a travel day. Like where all you have to do is get home or all you have to do is get to the hotel. It's one of my favorite things in the world. It's a great anxiety reducer. It's all I have to do is make sure I'm at the gate at this time, get in my seat, travel light, get there, get in the car, go to the hotel. That's it. Shower to like kind of recalibrate your body. It became like instead of this sad Willy Loman kind of existence, it became more of like no, I'm Jason Bourne. I go around and assassinate people. Like it's fun.
Yeah, you reminded me of something else that I do, and that's I remember my last day job, which was a real struggle for me.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, at least I didn't have to wake up and go
That's
do
right.
that. Like
That's right.
This is my job, is to sit and watch a movie in this seat.
If you go from I have to be alone to I get to be alone, that's a big shift.
Yeah.
I get to be alone.